film, there's two ways of looking at things. There was a lot of good things, and that we have to build on, and a lot of mistakes we got to get corrected, but we played winning football with much of that game. So we got to learn to capitalize, finish it off, and play better in critical moments, but did a lot of good things. Excited to get back to work today and get ready for Eastern Michigan.
Mark, what's next status after the injury?
I'm unsure. Will not practice today.
He was pretty down speaking with us after the game.
Mm-hmm.
How is his mindset now, and what did you tell him specifically?
Yeah, Zach understands there's things that we all can do better, that he can do better, and we probably left some plays on the field. He's resilient. He's been around. He's a little beat up right now, but has to get himself healthy and get back out there as soon as he can, and he'll be fine.
Mark, you talked about the good things. When you watched the video, were you surprised by any of it? Did you say, hey, we're better than we thought?
I don't know about surprised or anything like that, but it's a big unknown going into the second game with such a big challenge. And, I thought we did many things very good. We discussed it much going into the game. Ole Miss puts you in a bind. They put some stress on you. And I felt like some of that, we didn't hold up with the hitches. Somebody asked me after the game about tackling and all that, and you start watching it again, and I got a lot of things going through my mind right after the game. But watching it and just, the yards after, catches, some of those things were frustrating. They probably had 100 yards on hitches. So, you could get those things corrected, but they're also a matchup problem. Because then we did get closer to them, and they did hit a post over our head as well. So, not having DJ didn't help. But those are, credit Ole Miss with that. They put you in a bind, and they stress you, and they have talented guys. But, much of that, you look at the way we competed, the way we played them, and we played them very well. Obviously, when you give up explosive plays, it's going to be difficult. And, for us, way too many explosive plays. Now you understand that is Ole Miss. That's what they do. But yeah, there was a lot of good on both sides. I think, we ran the ball effectively. We ran a lot of plays, which was good to see, that you need to do against Ole Miss. We limited them, somewhat. I think it was, like I said, it was 72-70. That's pretty good. Now, again, credit them with the explosives. We didn't get as many. I thought two critical plays. We had an explosive that we were, our receiver pointed to be on the line. He didn't confirm it with the official, but you're 6 inches from an explosive that got called back, and you can't do that. It's the same with basically the last play of the first half. We're 4 inches from finishing that drive to perfection. So.
Mark, on that play that you're just talking about, I think it was Macklin. Was he offsides or was he in the backfield? What did they end up saying? Because I couldn't figure it out.
I need clarification. Mac was on. JJ was off. JJ was a yard off. Mac was supposed to be on, but maybe he was 6. I think they called it on JJ, but he was a yard off the ball on a legal set. So I don't know.
Mark, you talked about that running game. They should run a ton of explosives, but you said over 6 yards you carry, and all they did some good things as well. Is there more of a focus going forward, maybe even establish one at a higher level with those guys?
Yeah, I think we definitely ran very well. The backs are very talented. I think we're getting some movement. Again, you play Ole Miss, they're going to be disruptive, and they were, at times. And so I think we just got to keep on, cleaning up the areas where we can. There were some things that just the way we target things, the way we pulled, we missed some things as well. But we'll keep on building on it.
We talked a lot about the kind of pre-snap operation after the game. Is there any
big picture moving forward, changes you've got to do to make sure that that's not a thing?
Yeah, and I was, very, I told you, I addressed it at half. I was very frustrated at half, and even after the game, that was still lingering. And you watch it, and again, there's some of it that's inexcusable. It happens. You know what I mean? Game 2, it's going to happen. You have to be able to overcome them things. And so, yeah, our operation in Game 1 was very clean. The intensity picks up in Game 2, and you add a lot more wrinkles. You add some different things. And, it's very correctable. There's things that, you watch it and, you're so close. Like I mentioned, like the end of the first half frustrated everybody. But that thing, we ran 4 plays before it got out of reach, right? I mean, the first 3 plays were perfect. Perfection. And the 4th play, we're 6 inches off from being perfect. But it frustrates everybody because that 6 inches matters. And really, to be honest with you, I wish they'd have called a false start. Yeah. And then no time would have went off. So if they didn't call the false start, we were 6 inches away from being perfect.
Mark, on those first half, the timeouts, the first one was like 4th and 2.
That was the 4th and 2.
Yeah, where you guys acted like you were going to go for it, and then you wound up punting.
I wanted to go for it. We wanted to have a different back end. And after that, I decided to punt it. And, from my CAI report, from the analytics standpoint, that was the only one I was wrong on. But we got the ball back at 2 minutes later on the 30 going in. So, so nobody I guess I shouldn't use hindsight, but it was a wrong decision, but in hindsight, that was the right decision. So I think I'll quit using that.
On that play, if you're going to punt it anyway, did you consider just taking the penalty and backing it up for the punt?
I should have, and I probably should have. I wanted to go for it, and I wanted it in that moment. I didn't want them set. And so again, no excuses. It's wrong by us. You know what I mean? But then the second timeout was a good timeout. We had a bad play into something. We called timeout and we scored. We scored a touchdown. The third timeout was inexcusable. So, yeah, good, sir.
With Zach out today and kind of moving up to the 1 until we get some backup kind of QB reps up right
Yeah,
now.
Bo will get some.
What did you think of Cutter? It was obviously a difficult spot for him Saturday, but in the 2 games he did play.
Yeah, it was good. I told him, he's got to protect himself. I told him going into it that, it was going to be difficult to protect himself, and he goes and lowers his shoulders and run into somebody. I didn't need 2 quarterbacks hurt at that point, but no, Cutter. The pass that he completed was, beautiful. And he was put in a tough situation. I thought that his second to last drive, got us in scoring position and had that opportunity to score and didn't capitalize on it. I think you asked me about the run on that down, earlier, but, I think we tried to get it into a manageable. 1 or 2 possessions before that, we had 3rd and 12, ran it to 4th and 4 and converted a 25-yard play, so it worked perfect then, so I think that was the idea, trying to get something.
Mark, Bush said after the game a lot of the pre-snap motions are to try to help against the press coverage. Is there anything else to kind of help beat the press? Like, can you do timing routes and try to get slants or hitches or whatever?
Yeah, and I think, again, after the game, I was frustrated at many things, but watching it, again, there were plays there. And I did say that afterwards, that I felt like walking off it, that the quarterback has to pull the trigger and make some throws. For instance, and not throwing anybody under the bus, it's just true, but Zach knows this. When we get it, I think we talked about the possession on the second interception. Why not just run it? Well, we call quick game on 1st down, and it's there. It's there. So instead of 2nd and 4, 2 guys wide open, maybe 3. But 2 for 6 yards, 1 for maybe 4. And instead of 2nd and 4, it's 2nd and forever, and you kick the field goal. You can't make those mistakes against a team that's, running for the playoffs and a very good SEC team. You can't make those mistakes.
Just to clarify, if Zach is available, will
when you start on Saturday?
I'm not going to comment on that, John. I know this. I'm excited to see Cutter, and I say that about every position. When somebody gets hurt, I never want to see a player get hurt. But when that happens, about every time I've been up here, I said I can't wait to see so and so play. Right? In fairness, so don't overblow that for a quarterback like everybody does. I'm always excited for the next man up, and I'm excited to see Cutter, and Cutter will absolutely play.
In regard to the communication issues, would you prefer your own team to be on the sidelines or up in the
No, I've done it, both ways, and some coordinators, I think Liam might have bounced, back and forth, and you just try to get the right feel for the team that you have. There are good reasons to be down to communicate and talk, but also upstairs you could put your notes and, have your play sheet out and be a little more organized on what you want to call and set up and things like that. So we've operated very clean. There were definitely some things that we have to be better at, and so we'll continue to work at it.
Speaking of Liam, big win yesterday.
Yeah, absolutely. We text before the game, so I haven't talked to him since. We both are a little busy, but very happy for him to have that first win.
Mark, offensive line, after watching the tape, just what was the impressions of their first game against an SEC?
Yeah, I thought they did well. There were good movement in the run game. The pass game, you knew there was going to be more pressure, and there was, and it's a bigger challenge, but they definitely protected to a point where we have to be comfortable enough to step up in that pocket and deliver the football. And that's what I mentioned after the game, and that was the case after watching the film. Definitely contested, but definitely throws that are there.
Mark, you talked about Ole Miss stressing. They stress everybody.
Mm-hmm.
You've had teams here that have been able to stress other teams offensively.
Yep.
What does this team have to do to be better at that?
Well, we have to continue to get balance, right? I've been saying that for a long time. Last year, into this year, we have to be better. At least we improved the physicality in the run game. The protection's better. We have to create some positive yardage in the pass game. We improved a little bit in this game, but again, we left some out there.
Do you feel like your defense was as physical as you would have liked? Because it seemed like they were.
I thought the defense did some really good things. I think guys, a lot of the guys played well, but Alex, we talked about after the game, after watching the film, very impressive. Khalil, I thought, really showed up, was very disruptive, played one of his better games since he's been here, and he's been pretty consistent all year. That was really good to see. Gusta, got a lot of penetration, a lot of pressure. I thought even the edge guys, were good. As we mentioned, they get rid of the football, but we still affected him.
Mark, what are you seeing from Tanner Lemaster on Eastern Michigan?
I haven't studied Tanner yet on that, but Eastern is a team that, like all the MAC teams, I always say that. I always feel like they're very well coached. They know who they are. They know what they want to be. You have to beat them. And so, we, as always, are worried about ourselves, right, and improving and getting better. And, so that'll be our point of emphasis here this week.
The first half issues where you're trying to match personnel plays, is there any sense of using this game to really solidify a kind of baseline offensively when it comes to like how you're going to operate and what are the kind of go-to plays that you can be efficient with?
We, discussed that at length yesterday and today, just making sure, that we can be as smooth as you want to be. There's going to be some substitution. There's some specialty plays, but just settling in and letting guys play and be effective, is something that we will continue to work at. And again, we've been extremely smooth in many places, and others that we're falling short. With that operation, you feel like there's a lot of little things because a couple penalties really stuck out to me. But we're the second least penalized team in the SEC. It's not like we're, shabby all over the place. I mean, I wish we'd had one more penalty. I wish the false start would have happened. You know what I mean? So there's many things we're doing good. And I was frustrated again. I probably said that 20 times today, but there are some areas that we know we have to get better at. It's game 2. We have a lot of new bodies. There's a lot of good things, and there's plenty of areas where we need to work on.
Does it feel like the McGowan in particular did get more comfortable after getting his feet underneath him that first game?
Yes, I think it is. I think, just being on that surface and playing, and, I think he's more comfortable in the second game, yes.
Is he one of those two that can get more involved in the passing game?
Yes.
That one
Yes.
was
Yes,
close.
yes, yeah, without a doubt. Yeah, he's a guy that we definitely can get the ball to.
Mark, you guys have had a few opportunities there after Ty got the second interception. You do come away with the field goal, and then those last couple of drives, you guys were inside the 30 with an opportunity to tie. You guys have to do when that field's short to find a way to get in the end zone.
Yeah, it's a fine line. Like I mentioned earlier in the game, we get the penalty on the first run play, get it to the 15 or whatever it was, and take the sack. So we try to throw it on first down, just get an easy completion, get the ball out of his hands to not be predictable. And, we didn't convert. We need to improve in those areas. There's plays where we try to take the shot, to score a touchdown, and then there's plays to just keep them off balance and move the chains. And, we've been ineffective at this point.
Mark, I know how much you love internet chatter, and the natives are pretty upset out there. Understandably so,
Yeah,
after
yeah.
8 consecutive
Yeah.
SEC
Yeah.
home losses. What can you say to encourage the fans out there?
I think the only thing I can say to myself and to the fans, first of all, also, I'm glad you brought that up because the environment was great Saturday. I loved the atmosphere and appreciate the fans and the support. It was really fun for a vast majority of that game. I wish we could finish it off, but we're a better football team. This team's working hard and playing very tough and, working to improve.
Any update on DJ Waller?
Yeah, more than likely he'll be out this week.
Do you use this game against Eastern Michigan to get some other guys reps too? I know you're not trying to concede, you're going to just win it, but do you want to try to get more guys in?
I just want to play good football, no matter who's in there, and want to play better, want to improve, and want to continue to work to make us the best team we can be.
I know you're focused on your team, obviously, but South Florida beats Florida, and Mississippi State upsets Arizona. So, there's just craziness all over the league. Is this all about the portal and personnel shifts, or?
I'm not sure. I think there's definitely a lot of change going on everywhere, and a lot of people, trying to iron things out here early in the year.
Can that be a message though when you see big upsets happening that hey we can be on the right side of one of these?
Well, I think that I think Ole Miss has a real good chance to make the playoffs, and the way we played them Saturday, I understand the frustration, like plays left on the field and things we could do better. But again, the other side of that is there's a lot of things we did well, and we know we can compete with anybody. We just got to continue to work extremely hard, do the things we're doing well, continue to exploit them and do the best we can, and improve in the areas where we're falling short. And there's many areas where we're going to work hard to improve.
Mark, when you guys look at the film, what are you seeing from Jalen Farmer?
Yeah, a lot of good things. Jalen's really, he was captain Saturday. He really did a good job. He's in the best place, since he's been with us. The way he plays, he's very powerful and plays with a lot of intensity, brings a lot of intensity to that line. And, he's been a great teammate and a very good leader. And like what I'm seeing out of Jalen.
How much did he change his body? I remember talking to him at media day last year, and he didn't look like he looks now.
He's definitely changed his body. He works extremely hard at it. Coach Wolf does a great job on top of the strength and conditioning and nutritionist and all that. But there's a position coach that is heavily invested in really pushing those guys to get extra lifts, to eat right, to do all the things, and he's really impressive with his body right now.
Coach, you guys have moved Jagger around a few times in his career, and he's tried some different positions. Now he's kind of staying steady at that center position. what have you gotten from him so far, and how have you seen his play progress at that position?
Yeah, Jagger's played the best football, since he's been here, these first 2 games, and that's great for us, and it's really good for him. As I mentioned, he's a guy that cares deeply. He puts a lot into this, and he works extremely hard. He's another one physically that's really done a lot. And like I said, he's a great leader. He cares, and he knows we're better with him playing center, and he's playing very good football right now.
Mark, we talked last week about getting Kendrick Law the ball more. What do you build on for the success you have there?
Yeah, I think just continue. Like I said, I think we're, again, 2 plays 6 inches off on alignment to be more precise. There was an explosive there we could create, and just finding ways to get him the ball. He's a strong guy that can make good plays for us. Even getting him on the perimeter, he had some very good yards on the perimeter as well. So we'll continue to work at it.
Mark, how to follow up to that, what can you do? Jamore finished last season so strong. What can you kind of do? You got the one big catch. So
Yeah.
you need to keep working.
Yeah, I think, it all works together, right? Just as I mentioned, that quarterback stepping up into, the pocket and delivering the football when we have plays. They're going to be contested. There's going to be guys around there. We just got to get a better comfort level of converting on those and giving guys like Jamore opportunities down the field as well. That was a big play Saturday, and good to see. It's something, he's worked on, and I think just opportunities, continue to work as a group.
Everybody good? Anybody else?
Mark, as we're watching these other games, it seems like a lot of the teams that win are able to make these in-game adjustments. How comfortable are you and your staff in being able to do that within the course of the game?
I think the same way we've done it for a long time, John. So we continue to make the plays and make the adjustments and play ball.